here on Get Up this morning. According to multiple reports, Aaron Judge agreeing to a 9-year, $360 million deal to stay with the New York Yankees. Chris Canty, Kimberly Gardner fired up. We're going to have Buster Olney be along in a little bit to talk about that. But obviously, huge news in baseball out of the winter meetings. Aaron Judge staying in New York. Meantime, we're going to do bad week or bad news, as mentioned earlier. Aaron Judge returning to the Yankees on a 9-year, $360 million deal. We're confirmed by ESPN's Buster Olney, who, if I understand correctly, joins us now to discuss this. Buster, are you here?
I am here, Dan.
All right, what do you got? Tell us how this happened.
It's confirmed. Yeah, so what happened was the Yankees completely surrendered. Aaron Judge had more leverage than any player in the history of that franchise. More than Babe Ruth, more than Joe DiMaggio, more than Reggie Jackson, more than Derek Jeter. He turned down $213.5 million in the spring from the Yankees, bet on himself, and the final numbers, $360 million, which means that over the course of 6-7 months, the Yankees increased their offer by about 70%. And Aaron Judge goes back to New York, the team that drafted him, presumably moving forward to be a conversation about whether or not he'll be the next captain, the first Yankee captain since Derek Jeter. The Yankees had to keep Aaron Judge. Hal Steinbrenner makes him this huge offer, which keeps him away from the San Francisco Giants.
So just for people who may be watching who haven't been following it as closely, the competition was the San Francisco Giants. Like, that's what pushed this number as high as, and how close was he to going to California?
Well, their offer was right in the range of what the Yankees offered, and the threat was real. It's clear by the Yankees' reaction to this that they were fearful that Judge would go back to his home state in California. And look, Aaron Judge is a great teammate. He's a great clubhouse leader, widely respected. The Yankees drafted him in 2013, and yet as they went through this process, they didn't really know what he wanted. When they negotiated with him in the spring, his response to that $213.5 million offer was not a counter and to give a number. It was simply no. So as the Yankees went through this, they're asking the question, what does he really want? And boy, it turned out Aaron Judge was a great poker player.
No kidding. To set a Yankees franchise record for leverage, that's really impressive. Look, the Yankees, in the end, they were obviously hesitant. They didn't sign him last offseason. There was a number that they were numbers they weren't comfortable with. In the end, you say they surrendered. Did they have to do? If this had not worked out for them, where would they have turned?
Yeah, so agents told me as they went through this process, they believe that Brian Cashman, the Yankees general manager, his advice based on his history to Hal Steinbrenner was probably, look, hold the line. Don't go off on one of these crazy contracts. But in this case, there was more pressure on Hal Steinbrenner than in any other negotiation he'd been involved in. And so he gives him that money. If they hadn't signed Judge, I think their pivot would have been to the shortstop market, Xander Bogaerts, Carlos Correa, and maybe to Hal Steinbrenner. That just wasn't palatable. The Giants now, who lose out on Judge, will turn to the shortstop market, maybe Carlos Correa.
All right, Hal Steinbrenner maybe channeling his late father and just doing whatever it took to make sure that the big-name free agent didn't leave New York. Buster, thanks so much for jumping on with us and helping us make sense of all this. Thanks for joining Get Up. Canty's fired up. We're excited, right?
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, finally, we're acting like a big market team. I mean, for years, with Hal Steinbrenner and Brian Cashman, they've used the luxury tax threshold as a soft salary cap. And so now, they're willing to absorb paying Aaron Judge $40 million a year for the next 9 years. And this is a player on the wrong side of 30. But again, to Buster's point, he had all the leverage in this situation. He's the AL MVP. He set the AL record for home runs. So you're adding him to the top of your payroll with Garrett Cole, who's making $36 million, and Giancarlo Stanton, who's making $32 million. So, I mean, it feels good to utilize your resources, your biggest strengths, and in this situation, it's cash.
Yeah, you're the Yankees. Act like the Yankees.
I know. I love it. I'm shocked because I thought based on Aaron Judge's comments about Cashman and how Cashman had leaked their contract negotiation stuff earlier in the year, I was like, oh, now you've messed up, just like with Jeter, So now I'm like, okay, this is good. I'm excited.
I mean, my union background, anytime players get money, oh my God, I get so happy. It don't matter what sport you're playing. imagine you throwing darts. If you get a big bag, I get so excited. And also, I mean, the idea of a free agent leaving the Yankees, like, I grew up in a world where the Yankees went and took other people's free agents. So, like, I can't imagine that to the leverage point. Like, you can't be seen as the next Steinbrenner. This one lets the big talent lead. So, yeah, give that man all the money.
Dude, bet on himself.
Oh, yeah.
Bet on himself, broke a home run record.
Nothing motivates a player like fresh cash.
A made-up home run record.
Sign in the NFL. Dominique, Titans lost their second game in a row. This one to the Eagles, and they fired their GM. Bad week or bad sign?
It's definitely a bad sign when you lose a couple games in a row. They lost their receiver Burks to injury in this game. And also, clearly, even if I wanted to say it was a bad week, they made it a bad sign when they told their general manager to get missing. So, yeah, this is not looking good for them going forward.
First place team firing a GM in December is unusual. Kmart, the Jets lose to the Vikings. Bad week or bad sign for New York?
Dan, I'm going to say just a bad week. You know, maybe I've been gone a long time. I'm not as angry as I used to be. You know, I've been away. I'm feeling good about the Jets. Mike White, like, here's the thing. The Jets could have won that game had Braxton Berrios caught that ball. I'm not feeling like this is a team that's headed in a downward spiral. I actually feel good about the Jets.
All right, we'll see how they do this week in Buffalo? That's a tough one. Canty, the Dolphins went all the way out to San Francisco, lost to the Niners. Bad week or bad sign?
It's a bad sign, and it's because of how the quarterback played. He completed his first pass to Trent Sherfield, a 75-yard catch and run for a touchdown, but after that had 5 straight incompletions, and he missed guys that were wide open, Graz. That's going to be a problem. We think Tua is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL based on the metrics, but when in the biggest spot against one of the best defenses in the league, he came up really, really small.
Kimberly, you seem to disagree.
You know, again, maybe I'm just too nice on this Wednesday. I'm just not in the mood to kill quarterbacks today. Here's the thing. I guess because I've watched Tua in person throw 6 touchdowns. I've watched against the Ravens. Like, I've watched this offense score at will, right? And I've watched Patrick Mahomes lose to the Colts. I've watched good quarterbacks have terrible games. I don't think 1 week should completely erase everything up to this point. Like, we were talking about the Dolphins, some of us were talking about the Dolphins.
Yeah, not me.
Yeah, we know. See, but this is my issue. Like, 1 week, when we use 1 week to say, okay, see, Tua can't beat anybody good. See, this is the thing. You see how he just looked out of sync? I think the guy's allowed to be out of sync 1 game, and he's going up against the best defense in the NFL.
Yeah, I think and he didn't have his tackles. This D-line is ferocious.
Guys, the other team had their 3rd-string quarterback, and he lost.
But he's not facing that. Like, he's not playing against.
It's not a boxing match. Just because they had a 3rd-string quarterback, Tua had a bad game. We understand that. I think that he was off target even when he wasn't under pressure. He was kind of a bit seeing ghosts, a little bit skittish, which happens. I would be a little skittish too if Nick Bosa was trying to get after me. But the fact of the matter is he's had several really good weeks this season. I do think that it's a bit of a concern because this is a great defense and you're going to see great defenses in the playoffs. However, we have to be honest about if you have that D-line going up against that particular offensive line, like, it's understandable that a quarterback's not going to be at his best if the game plan and the talent doesn't match up. So, yeah, Tua's not going to be like a guy who can make things happen when you don't have anybody blocking the edges, which is fair because most people can't. But, yeah, when he has a clean pocket, he has to be able to recognize that and not be skittish based on the fact that he was getting pressured on just about all the other throws.
He was only pressured on 6 dropbacks on 36 pass attempts.
All right, we disagree there. We're going to get back to it. But we do have to hit on the baseball. Canty, I know you want to talk about this anyway on Aaron Judge. We have breaking